The movie kicks off with Wolverine volunteering for a brutal experiment to get indestructible metal claws. He's chained down while a Major watches from above. The moment the order is given, Wolverine is lowered into a chemical tank. Machines fire red-hot needles into his body, and molten adamantium is fused directly to his skeleton. The pain is unreal. His heart rate keeps climbing, and memories from his entire life start flashing through his mind. Then his heartbeat hits 300, and suddenly flatlines. Everyone thinks he's dead. Experiment failed. But seconds later, his heart starts beating again. The Major is thrilled. It worked. Erase his memory. He wants Wolverine to become the ultimate weapon. Big mistake. Wolverine hears everything. His eyes snap open. 3 metal claws burst from each hand. He tears through the chains and explodes out of the tank in a rage. But before we go any further, we need to know who Wolverine really is. His real name is James, and he was born in Canada in 1832 to a wealthy family. One day, during an argument, the family's caretaker accidentally shoots and kills James's father. The shock sends James into a blind rage. For the first time ever, 6 bone claws shoot out of his hands. He jumps at the caretaker and kills him instantly. But right after that, James learns a truth that's even more devastating. The caretaker he just killed was actually his real father. James learns he was born from a secret affair between the caretaker and his mother. The truth completely destroys him. As he runs away from home, the caretaker's son, Victor, follows him and reveals another bombshell. They're brothers. From that day on, James and Victor stick together. Since both are mutants with powerful healing abilities, they barely age and are almost impossible to kill. Over the next century, they fight in war after war, including both world wars. On the battlefield, they're unstoppable. But as the years pass, Victor becomes more and more violent. Eventually, after killing a superior officer, both brothers are sentenced to death. The military shoots them again and again. Nothing works. When it's clear they can't die, they're thrown in prison instead. That's when a colonel approaches them with an offer. Join a secret mutant team working for the government. The brothers agree, kicking off a whole new chapter of their lives. This is also where they first meet Wade Wilson, the guy who will later become Deadpool. And this team is packed with dangerous mutants. On one mission, the colonel gives the signal, and a mutant marksman named Zero steps forward. He pretends to surrender, then instantly pulls out his pistols and wipes out the guards before they can react. A flashy reload later, the team charges in. As soon as Zero turns around, every enemy is already dead. Then a thug tries attacking with a tank, but before he can do anything, the tank explodes. And then comes the coolest entrance of all. Deadpool walks in, spinning his twin swords, and starts deflecting bullets like it's nothing. At one point, he's even using the blade like a mirror, while the enemy boss just stands there in shock. Moments later, the colonel takes a mysterious meteorite from the boss and forces him to reveal where it came from. The team heads to a nearby village. They take the villagers hostage and demand the rest of the meteorite fragments. When the village chief refuses, the colonel orders the entire village wiped out. That's where Wolverine finally draws the line. He stops Victor and tells him they never signed up to murder innocent people. But Victor doesn't care. At this point, he's become addicted to violence and actually enjoys it. Watching his own brother turn into a monster, Wolverine realizes he can't be part of this anymore. So he rips off his dog tag, throws it on the ground, and walks away from the team for good. 6 years later, Wolverine is living a quiet life in Canada with his girlfriend, Kayla. For the first time in years, he's actually happy. One day, while working at a logging camp, an unexpected visitor shows up, the colonel. He warns Wolverine that someone is hunting down members of their old mutant team one by one, and they could be next. Wolverine wants nothing to do with it. He ignores the warning and goes back home. But the very next day, as Kayla is driving to pick him up from work, someone suddenly attacks her. Back at work, Wolverine gets a bad feeling. Then he spots a dead wolf and fresh claw marks nearby. Instantly, he knows something is wrong. Following the scent trail, he races through the forest. But when he arrives, Kayla is nowhere to be found. Then he sees her, dead. The woman who gave him a normal life, gone. For a moment, he's completely shattered. Then the grief turns into pure rage. One look at the claw marks on a nearby vehicle, and he knows exactly who did it, Victor. Without wasting a second, Wolverine tracks his brother down to a bar. Victor is just sitting there, like nothing happened. Wolverine demands to know why he killed Kayla. Victor doesn't even take it seriously, so Wolverine attacks. The bar instantly turns into a war zone. Victor throws him through walls, slams him across the room, and sends him crashing into furniture like a rag doll. Wolverine fights back with his claws, but Victor is stronger than ever. At one point, Victor catches his wrists and drives his own claws into Wolverine's stomach. Then, he hurls him straight onto a truck. Wolverine keeps getting back up, but he's clearly outmatched. Victor even starts mocking him. "You're getting old." That only makes Wolverine angrier. He charges again, and this time both brothers stab each other at the same moment. Wolverine finally lands a solid hit and sends Victor flying into a massive pile of logs. But before he can finish the fight, Victor kicks down a support beam. Tons of heavy timber come crashing down on Wolverine, burying him underneath. Buried under the logs, Wolverine is helpless, and Victor shows zero mercy. Instead of helping him, he stomps on Wolverine's bone claws and snaps them apart. Wolverine finally blacks out. He's rushed to a hospital, but by the time he gets there, his healing factor has already repaired most of the damage. That's when the Colonel shows up. Furious, Wolverine blames him for everything. The moment the Colonel returned, his peaceful life fell apart, and now Kayla is dead. All Wolverine can think about is revenge. Seeing that, the Colonel makes him an offer. He says he can make Wolverine stronger than ever. Blinded by grief and rage, Wolverine agrees. And that's exactly how he ends up in the experiment we saw at the beginning of the movie. Back in the present, Wolverine breaks free from the lab. Zero opens fire, but the bullets do absolutely nothing. Now that his skeleton is coated in adamantium, he's more dangerous than ever. He slices through a massive steel door like it's cardboard, escapes the facility, and dives off a waterfall to get away. Eventually, he hides inside an elderly farmer's barn. The farmer sees that Wolverine isn't a threat and gives him shelter. Unfortunately, helping Wolverine turns out to be a terrible mistake. Zero tracks him down and launches missiles at the house. The place explodes. Wolverine barely escapes on a motorcycle while machine gun fire rains down around him. Then things get worse. An armored vehicle starts chasing him from behind while Zero's helicopter blocks the road ahead. Trapped from both sides, Wolverine decides he's done running. He spins the bike around, pops his metal claws, and goes straight on the attack. Leaping onto the armored vehicle, he fights his way toward the helicopter. Seconds later, an explosion launches him into the air. Wolverine takes advantage of it and slashes straight through the helicopter's rotor blades. The helicopter loses control and crashes hard. Zero is finished. Wolverine grabs a radio and sends the Colonel a message. "After I kill Victor, you're next." Then he ignites the leaking fuel, turning the wreckage into a giant fireball. Now his revenge mission has officially begun. After that, Wolverine tracks down two former teammates, Wraith and Blob. Blob reveals something huge. The Colonel and Victor have been working together for years, kidnapping mutants and taking them to a secret island for experiments. Their goal? Combine mutant abilities into one unstoppable superweapon. To find the island, Wraith takes Wolverine to a bar where a mutant named Gambit hangs out. Gambit is the only person who ever escaped that island alive. But the second he spots Wolverine's military dog tag, he assumes Wolverine works for the people hunting mutants, so he attacks. Charged playing cards send Wolverine flying across the room and straight out of the building. As Wolverine gets back up, he sees something even worse. Victor has just killed Wraith. That pushes him over the edge. Wolverine charges Victor, and the two start tearing into each other. This time, though, the fight is different. With his new adamantium skeleton, Wolverine has the advantage. He's seconds away from finishing Victor when Gambit suddenly crashes into the fight and knocks them apart. Victor doesn't waste the opportunity. He runs. Wolverine tries to go after him, but Gambit gets in the way. After a brief fight, Wolverine finally convinces him that they're not on the same side. Then he forces Gambit to take him to the island. But when Wolverine arrives there, he gets the shock of his life. Standing beside the Colonel is Kayla, alive, completely unharmed. Turns out her death was all a setup. The Colonel intentionally placed Kayla in Wolverine's life. Once they fell in love, he staged her death to push Wolverine into a rage and trick him into agreeing to the adamantium experiment. The whole thing was a manipulation from the start. The Colonel wanted to turn Wolverine into his personal killing machine. Seeing Kayla alive should have made Wolverine happy. Instead, he's furious. The woman he loved, the woman he thought he lost forever, had been lying to him the entire time. And that's when he learns the truth behind why she did it. It was all a lie. The love, the happy life, the grief that pushed him into the experiment, none of it was real. At least, that's what Wolverine thinks. Heartbroken, he turns around and walks away. If Kayla never loved him, then what's even left to fight for? But there's something he doesn't know. Kayla was being forced to help the Colonel. He had kidnapped her sister and used her as leverage the entire time. Now that Kayla has served her purpose, the Colonel orders Victor to kill her. Wolverine hasn't gotten far when he hears her scream. Instantly, he turns back. He storms into the lab and drives his claws straight into Victor's chest. A brutal kick sends Victor flying, and the fight crashes through a wall and out of the building. Wolverine has the chance to finish him, but chooses not to. Instead, he goes after the real enemy. He breaks open the prison cells and frees all the captured mutants. Just as they're about to escape, the Colonel unveils his ultimate weapon, Deadpool. Except this version is nothing like the one we know. The Colonel has stuffed him full of mutant abilities, turning him into a living superweapon. His healing factor is so powerful that every injury instantly repairs itself. Even his mouth has been sealed shut because he never stops talking. Realizing how dangerous he is, Wolverine tells the mutants to run while he stays behind. The final battle begins. Wolverine attacks first, claws out. Deadpool meets him head-on with twin blades. Every hit Wolverine lands heals almost instantly. Then Deadpool kicks him across the battlefield like he's nothing. Wolverine is getting overwhelmed. Trying to gain an advantage, he climbs onto a massive cooling tower. But he's forgotten one thing. Deadpool can teleport. The second Wolverine turns around, Deadpool suddenly appears right in front of him. Before Wolverine can react, Deadpool drives his blades into Wolverine's chest, then lifts him up and slams him down, then drives both blades straight into Wolverine. Just when it looks like Wolverine is finished, Victor shows up and pulls him to safety. For the first time in a long time, the brothers fight side by side. Even then, Deadpool is a nightmare. He keeps teleporting around the battlefield, attacking from every direction. At one point, Victor grabs him, giving Wolverine a clean shot. Wolverine buries his claws into Deadpool, but the guy teleports away again. Then Deadpool unlocks another ability. Laser beams blast from his eyes. He's about to fry Victor when Wolverine rushes in and slashes across his neck. A powerful kick sends Deadpool crashing off the tower. And just like that, the super weapon is finally defeated. Meanwhile, Kayla and the escaped mutants are surrounded by armed guards. Luckily, Kayla's sister uses her mutant powers to protect everyone, stopping the attack and helping the group escape. But Kayla doesn't leave. She's been shot, and she knows she doesn't have much time left. After the battle, Wolverine finds her. For a brief moment, everything else disappears. All he wants is to get her out of there. But before he can, the Colonel makes one last move. He fires a special adamantium bullet straight into Wolverine's head, then another. These bullets don't kill Wolverine, but they do something even worse. They erase his memories. The Colonel then turns his gun on Kayla. With her final strength, Kayla uses her mutant ability to control his mind. She doesn't order him to die. Instead, she tells him to keep walking until his feet give out. A little later, Wolverine wakes up, confused, lost. His entire past is gone. He looks down and sees Kayla lying there. Something about her feels important, like she meant everything to him once. But no matter how hard he tries, he can't remember who she is. The love that once defined his life has become the face of a stranger. With no memories, no answers, and no idea who he used to be, Wolverine walks away from the island alone, beginning the long journey that eventually turns him into the Wolverine we know today. And that's the end of the movie.